welcome to episode 4 of our John Deere 855 rescue. For those of you that have been following along, thank you and welcome back. And for you first timers, thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll follow along with us. We dragged this out of a barn a couple of months ago. It's been sitting for 10 years. We're going to try to bring it back to life. We've already done a bunch of work and we're going to do some more today. We're going to fix some rust and some wiring issues. So I hope you follow along right after this. Hey, so I'm making really good progress on the breast repair. This is one finished. Looks a whole lot better. All that rust is out of there, all new stuff. Everything's welded in, so we just have to paint it. And I'll take you along with me as I do this one. So let's get to it. So on the first one, when I cut it out, I tried to be real precise and try to get this out of there in one piece, and I would use this as a template, but it was too difficult. So this time I'm going to try something else. I've marked the points where it bends there, and I'm just going to cut everything out. I'm just going to take my grinder. I'm going to put a little mark here just to make sure I don't lose it, and then I'm just going to rip everything out. So got my earmuffs, my safety glasses, a couple different types of cutting wheels, a couple hammers, some chisels, and let's get to it. If I don't set myself on fire here. That was a lot of rust. So it looks like we got a few patches to do here now. Gonna have to patch this, that, and here. So this one's actually worse than the other one. So I've got to make the patches first. So I had 3 pieces I had to replace. Spot there, here, and there. So I originally had cut this one, figuring I'd only go to here, but I knew if I started welding over here, I'd probably blow holes. So I cut a new piece. Gonna go all the way down. It's pretty rough. And I have one more small piece over here later. But we'll get these 2 done first. So I got them marked, scribed, so I'll have to cut them out. I'm gonna cut them out a little bit small and just try to make it fit. Well, let's see how badly I can work this by welding it. Trying to get all the edges nice and smooth. I'm staggering my welds to keep it from warping. I don't want too much heat in one place. Even with all that extra metal, I still hit a punky spot there. Blew a hole through. So that's one patch in. Turned out pretty good. Even with all being careful, we got a little bit of warpage over here, but I don't think it'll matter too much. The brace will take care of that. So I got 2 more to do. Hey, so it's another day and we've got the other 2 patches done. Let me bring you in, you can see how they turned out. They didn't turn out too bad. Got that patch, that one done, and this is the back side of the first one. If I was a body guy, a little bit of filler, and they'd look pretty good, but I'm not going for cosmetic. I just don't want any rust holes. So I think we're doing pretty good. Next thing I got to do on the other side here, I have to make that brace. I'll go in here, and all I've done is I sprayed this with a little bit of just leftover paint I have here, and just to protect the backside. I know I'm going to be burning it off when I weld it, but at least it'll be a little coverage. So let's make that brace. So I've cut that a little bit long, and if you remember our line that we marked here before, so I'm going to run a straight edge across that line. I've got my locator holes. So now I'll cut that. So I've got the headlight in place, and I want to be able to put this brace on because this here support has to come down to here and line up with that. So I just wanted to line that up. And this tab, just like this one, it had little ears on it. You just had to line them up, fold them to the right direction and the right length, because there's steps in the body here. So I'm going to tack those in place, and then we can continue making that. So I have my 3 pieces cut here, trimmed. Just got to tack them into position, and then I'll drill some holes for some spot welds here and there. And we still have to put 1 piece on here to brace on this. So go like that. So it'll be a brace just across here, and that'll do it. So let's tack it up. Little brace that goes on here. So it's all welded up. Doesn't look too bad. I did most of my welding on the back side, and I got a protective coating on it. So that's bolted in place. Finished welding it. I still have to clamp it to here and weld it to there. And I've got holes drilled in it so I can plug weld. So let's do that. Okay, that's all welded in. I forgot to turn the camera on when I was actually doing the welding. So I've got 1 more piece to put in over here for the tail light. I still have a couple little holes to fill in. I'm going to cheat on that hole there and see if I can just fill it by playing with it and not putting anything behind it. Well, it doesn't stick to the table. Now we just have to get that light bracket mounted in. I'm using screws to hold it in place. Now for this guy. This is everything we pulled out of there. And this is what we're left with. All the pieces welded in. Might not be super smooth, but it's definitely a lot stronger than it was. It was surprisingly a lot of work. And it took a lot of time. I'm glad I don't pay me by the hour. And I think it's time for a beverage. So, gonna spray the bottoms of these with some rust retarder, and then I'll give them a coat of paint. I'm gonna use for undersides, I'm gonna use brush paint, and the top sides I'm gonna use spray on. I've got a lot of cans of paint, so I'm gonna use that up, and then we'll get some spray on for the parts that show a little bit more. So let's get on that. I'm using some rust converter. So I'll spray it on. I used it in the fall on some rims. I haven't decided if it works yet, but I've got it, so I might as well use it up. How long does it take to dry? It doesn't say. Might as well get another beverage while I'm waiting for it to dry. Well, I got me another bevy. I guess I should paint something before I have too many more bevies, otherwise this won't be pretty. So let's get to it. One thing about trim clad paint, it goes on pretty nice. Not that I'm being sponsored or anything, I just use a lot of this stuff. Yeah, and they happen to have the right green. You know, the little nooks and crannies. Probably need 2 coats. Of course, the stuff does cover pretty good. Don't want any runs. Not that it matters, but just trying to keep it looking pretty. There. That'll do for now. Give her another coat tomorrow. Keep the rust at bay for a while. It ain't perfect, but it's definitely better than it's been the last bunch of years. So a common area of rust on any vehicle that has a battery is the battery box. And I'm just going to take this right out, clean it up the best I can, and put some preservative on it and paint it up. So like the battery box looked like it needed a little bit of freshening up and painting, I decided to take the bar. This is the bar that goes in, holds the loader, and it was pretty crusty. It was pretty easy. The bolts were already out. All I had to do was loosen these clamps. But when I knocked it on the ground, look at all the rust that came out. So I'm going to have to spray something in here, in the tube and in the holder, and try to do a little rust preventative, and I'm going to paint that bar up. But let's get back to the wiring. So as I got into the electrical, first thing I did was get rid of the unnecessary wires. Those were the light wires. This were a couple of wires that were not going anywhere, not being used. Got rid of that. And as far as the lights, that's the connector for the light switch, and you can see it was melted. So instead of fixing that, they bypassed everything. So I was able to get a new connector, put all new connectors on it, new pins. I soldered them all together, put some heat shrink on everything. So hopefully that'll last. A new light switch, has all 4 positions. So that wasn't too bad. It was only about $80. The next thing they had was the starter switch. So right there, if you see in here, the shiny connector in the middle there with that wire, that's the starter circuit. That's supposed to be a purple wire. You can see it down there. I had to fish into the harness to find it where they had cut it. So that purple wire is supposed to go to the neutral switch here. And then the other side of the wire is supposed to come down through and go into the starter. So what they had done is they had just put this on the starter switch and run it directly to the starter and bypassed it all. And the reason for that was this plug also was melted. So I don't know if it got melted when they snagged it or something went wrong. So found that, got rid of that, and so I couldn't get that connector. So I got these ones. That was all in that little box. So that's all new wired. So the PTO, when you move that arm up, all you're doing is that, which isn't really doing anything. This magnet here is what controls the linkage to the PTO. And when you move this up, as long as you're sitting on the seat and the motor's on, this magnet will pull up on the lever. And if you take your butt off the seat, that magnet will drop off. So how that works is supposed to go through here, the seat switch. And again, they had a broken wire on the seat switch, or maybe the seat switch failed. But anyways, it was missing a wire there. It's supposed to be 3. And so instead of fixing it, they just hot wired it. They used this wire and they just went right to the fuse box and they hooked it up into here. There was no connector there. I put a new connector on it. The wires were just taped up. So that's pretty well most of what I found with the wiring. Once I put the battery box back in, we'll be able to try it. So looking forward to that. And we got a little bit more cleaning up to do. She's pretty good. You can tell it used to be black. Probably a dealer at one time painted everything green. So the frame, the transmission, and the front differential at one time were black. They painted it green. I think I like the black better, at least for the frame. So I'm going to give it a little bit of rattle can while I get everything apart and paint that up. Hey, so let's see if some of my wiring worked. So right now it's in neutral, so it should start. Battery. Need a battery. Try it now. Okay, so obviously that works. So if I step on either one of these pedals, it shouldn't start. That would mean the neutral switch is working. That one works. Let it go and try it again. So awesome, at least that circuit works. As far as the PTO circuit, we'll have to wait till we get the seat and the rest of the sheet metal back on. Hey, thank you so much for watching today. Been a great episode. Got a lot done. and really exciting stuff happening for the next episode. And here's a couple of sneak peeks. First thing, got the frame painted. Like I said, I wanted to make it black. That's the way it originally was, and I like the look of it that way. So that's painted. Plus, next episode, we've got all this green stuff to put back on. So it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to start putting this thing back together. And I hope you'll follow. And thank you again very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.